Most investors think CMHC MLI Select means automatic 95% financing. But here's the truth. In the last 6 months, more and more files have been landing at 90 to 94%, even when the deal hits every guideline. Not because the investor did anything wrong, but because final approval depends on which underwriter reviews your file. I'm Darren from DK Wealth and Growth, and today I'm breaking down a real-world CMHC example showing how net asset qualification actually works and why the residential lending squeeze in Ontario and BC is pushing smart investors into commercial multifamily heading into 2026. If you're new here, welcome. And if you've been following along, thank you for being part of this community. Stick with me to the end. I'll show you exactly how we structure deals so they still qualify even if CMHC reduces the loan amount. Let's start with what changed. 2025 was the year residential underwriting collapsed for small investors. Ontario and BC lenders tightened everything. TDS and GDS caps got stricter, rental add-backs were reduced, variable renewals forced amortization resets, and stress test rules wiped out borrowing power. We saw investors with six-figure incomes get capped at 2 or 3 rentals, even when those rentals were cash flow positive. That's why the commercial side, specifically CMHC MLI Select, became the preferred strategy. Because unlike residential lending, you're not qualifying based on your personal income. You're qualifying based on the project's performance. And part of that performance includes your net asset position. Here's the real mechanism CMHC uses that most people misunderstand. To qualify under CMHC MLI Select, investors need 25% net assets relative to the loan, 10% of the purchase price available as liquid or semi-liquid assets, and the ability to bring up to 10% down if CMHC adjusts the LTV. That 10% liquid requirement is crucial. It shows CMHC that you can handle unexpected costs, delays, or carry periods. And here's the part most people don't know. Your liquid assets do count toward qualification. Savings, cash, marketable securities, even some RSPs depending on structure, all of these help you meet the threshold. This is why we always tell our investors, the goal isn't to hit exactly 5% down. The goal is to show CMHC you're financially stable enough to run the asset. Now, let's address the elephant in the room. Yes, CMHC's guidelines allow up to 95% financing, but in practice, 95% is no longer automatic. Over the past few months, CMHC has taken a more conservative underwriting approach, especially heading into 2026. What does that mean? It means CMHC is applying higher vacancy assumptions, applying more conservative rent levels, even when market rents are higher, and using more conservative cap rates when determining value. When those inputs change, the CMHC's underwriting value comes down. And when their underwriting value comes down, the maximum loan amount comes down, even if the project fully qualifies under MLI Select. That's why we're seeing more approvals land between 90% and 94% LTV instead of the full 95%. Nothing is wrong with the deal. Nothing is wrong with the investor. It's simply how CMHC is stress testing risk right now. That's why we never underwrite deals assuming the full 95%. If a project still works at 90 to 94%, that's a deal worth owning. Let me give you a simple real-world example. Purchase price $2.4 million. Guideline LTV 95%. Expected loan approximately $2.28 million. Here's what happened. The deal hit all MLI Select criteria. DSCR was above 1.15. Rent comps were verified. Expenses were conservative. The investor met all asset requirements, but the CMHC underwriter placed it at 92% LTV. Final loan approximately $2.21 million. Required down payment approximately $190,000 instead of approximately $120,000. That's a $70,000 difference, and it wasn't the investor's fault. It was simply how that file was interpreted. This is why you must be ready for 6% to 10% down payment, even if the guideline says 5%. So here's the big picture. Even with more conservative CMHC approvals, multifamily is still the most scalable path in 2026. Why? Because asset-based lending removes the main choke point that crushed residential investors in 2025. Personal income qualification. With CMHC MLI Select, you get qualification based on building income, 50-year amortization below prime rates, 10-year fixed terms, and DSCR-based stability. In a world where residential borrowing power is shrinking, commercial is the only lane that stays open. If you want help structuring your CMHC file, or you want to see how a 90% to 94% LTV affects your numbers, click the link below and book a free strategy call. I'm Darren from DK Wealth and Growth, and next Thursday I'll break down exactly how we engineer DSCR buffers that pass CMHC on the first review. See you then.